Beautiful, sunny, blue skies, and I can confirm the temperatures are soaring here in Burapa, as was to be expected in this part of the world. 33 degrees air temperature, it certainly feels warmer than that. Tough conditions for the Asia Talent Cup riders to deal with, but they're used to that, of course, racing in Indonesia, back in Malaysia for round one as well. Japan wasn't exactly cold either, and then after these two races we go to Qatar and Malaysia. Malaysia first, and then Qatar, the final round of the season. My name's Eddie York. Hello and welcome to the broadcast here for race one. Alongside me in the commentary box is Chris Jordan. And Chris, once again, for the third time this season, it is the number 7 of Veda Pratama on pole position.
Yeah, superb return to form. He was on pole last time out. He's only been off pole position once this season, as you said, and he started 6th. And that still didn't make much of a difference with him coming out on top in Japan. All eyes on the number 7. He needs to leave here with a 100-point gap to become champion. He's 2 races to do it. It's a big, big ask, and he can just tee himself up for Malaysia. But he could, in theory, do it this weekend.
He certainly could. He certainly could do it this weekend. Can't do it in race one. So we'll just explain to you how it can unfold. Essentially, after the 2 races here in Thailand, there's 4 races left. As I mentioned, first up in Malaysia, and then to round off the 2023 season in Qatar. 4 races, 100 points on offer. He's 57 points clear over Zen Mitani as things stand. Basically, he needs to leave here with 100 points or more in his pocket. So plenty of points he needs to gain. It's a very, very difficult task for Pratama to wrap it up this weekend. But we'll focus more on that tomorrow. It can't be done today. And obviously, depending on what's happening today, we'll get a clearer picture as to what can happen tomorrow. Second on the grid is Ryota Ogiwara, the number 16 rider. First front row since Malaysia for Ogiwara. Had a very strong qualifying indeed, but he has a double long lap penalty, Chris. Fortunately, riding slow in a few sectors in qualifying was Ogiwara, a rule that was reintroduced after the riders were a little bit naughty, to put it politely, back in Indonesia. So the Asia Talent Cup reintroduced the rule, and unfortunately Ogiwara has been caught out. So he will start second on the grid, but unfortunately for Ogiwara, he does have to deal with 2 double long lap penalties. So an uphill task already for Ogiwara, starting from second.
Yeah, definitely. He was less than a 10th off of Pratama's time in qualifying. So he's definitely got the pace to go with him, but that double long lap penalty is going to be crucial. He's got no podiums either, yes, in the ATC. A couple near misses with P4s in each round previously to this one. So let's see how he can bounce back. We saw just a little bit earlier, Phuettisan, the number 20, the home hero, is on the front row. He had a few tenths further back from the pole man here today, but he's P3 in Japan. Race 2 was his best result. He'll be on and targeting another podium here. Maybe give the home fans plenty to scream about if he can keep pace with Pratama. Starting from 4th, we also saw him on our screens just a moment ago, is Amon Odaki. He has proven a real thorn in the side of Pratama this year so far. A couple of times we thought Pratama might break away, but Odaki has managed to stick with them. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get a good launch from the line to do it once again here.
Yeah, great for the Thai fans to have Phuettisan on the front row. 4 Thai riders on the grids for the home fans to cheer about. Phuettisan starting from the front row, as we mentioned. Burapa Wanmoon will start from P9 on the number 10 machine. And then we've got 2 wildcards this weekend in Thailand. The first of them on the grid is Kiattisak Singhapong, the number 24 rider. Look out for Singhapong. He's had a strong weekend so far on home soil. And the 4th one is Kitsada Tanachot, the number 22. So look out for those riders, especially you Thai fans out there watching along from home. But yes, Odaki, if you didn't see the race, the first race that is, last time out in Indonesia, I suspect you go and watch it, because it was a fantastic battle between Odaki and Pratama. Chris, we saw it back in Japan, didn't we, race 2? That ended in tears for Odaki, unfortunately. He lost out on the last lap in Indonesia in race 1 as well. So Odaki, if he gets a good start from P4, Pratama does have good pace, but it's not as strong as it was back in Indonesia, and Odaki managed to stick with him in race 1. So do look out for Odaki on the number 14 machine.
Yeah, we've seen them rub shoulders on more than one occasion this year, and here's hoping we see a little bit more action. Keep it clean, keep it fair, boys, but let's see some entertainment as well. Plenty of other talent out there on the grid as well. Lining up beside Amon Odaki in the second row is Zen Mitani, who's P2 in the standings. He needs, as we mentioned, he's the one who can keep Pratama's championship dreams on ice. He needs to pick up at least 8 points this weekend to keep the title fight going. And as we mentioned, he's a rookie. He's only been off the podium once as well this campaign, when he was caught up in a late crash in Japan after a result of an incident between Odaki and Pratama. So he's certainly a burgeoning talent here in the Asia Talent Cup.
Yeah, he certainly is. Mitani's had a super impressive season. Only DNF and only time, as you say, Chris, not off the podium was race 2 in Japan, and even then he was fighting for the podium. So yeah, watch out for Mitani. You rightly mentioned there, Chris, that he is the lead challenger to Pratama. You feel with Pratama potentially having the chance to wrap up the title on Sunday, depending how things go today, that this really is last chance saloon for the riders in the chase to try and pick up some points. They need to start doing it now, or Pratama will just go on to win the title. But as I say, Pratama had the edge, had a massive advantage over in Indonesia. Was on pole by 1.2 seconds. That's not the case this time around. Ogiwara was within a tenth of Pratama in qualifying. He does have that 2 long lap penalties, but Ogiwara does have good pace here in Thailand. So hopefully for Ogiwara's sake, the long lap penalties don't cost him too much and he can get back into the group depending how it plays out. Phuettisan was 3 tenths off Pratama in qualifying, and the top 9 were split by less than a second. So much tighter in terms of times in qualifying than it was in Indonesia. But we got a couple of belting races over in Indonesia. Pratama, on number 7, did race away in race 2. But we did have some special battles for the podium. So I'm thinking, Chris, don't want to predict anything too early, because as we've seen already this year, predicting things doesn't tend to go too well in the Asia Talent Cup. But I think we're going to have a special battle.
Too many right just yet.
No, we haven't, unfortunately. Prediction powers aren't our strong point.
So this is your starting grid. It's Pratama, Ogiwara and Phuettisan on the front row, with a powerful looking row 2 of Odaki, Mitani and Ezawa. Row 3 is Al-Sahouti, Takahira, home hero Wanmoon closes out the third row. Reykat Fadillah starts 10th alongside Raphael and Putra. More home favourite Singhapong is starting 13th on the grid alongside Nikolis and Rasyadan. Chessy Meilandri, Tanachot and Russo are on row 6, while completing your starting grid is Darwisy, Chavan, Gading and Putra.
Race 2. Here is your highlights then from race 1, from what we've just seen. Veda Pratama getting the perfect launch from pole position. It was his 3rd pole position of the season, and he couldn't have launched any better than that. Thai home hero Phuettisan was on the front row and launched it up to P2 straight away. This was unfortunately the crash for Hafi down on the exit of turn 9. A nasty one for the number 19 rider, but as you can see there, back up on his feet, trying desperately to get his bike restarted, but unfortunately it was to no avail. But a lead group of 5 riders pretty much immediately pulled clear after Ogiwara had to take a double long lap penalty. And this was your lead group. It was getting pretty hectic in the opening few laps. All the riders, including Pratama, your championship leader, fighting out for the race leads. And this was a crash down at turn 1 for Rasyadan, the number 18 rider, the Indonesian. Good to see he was all okay after that one. A nasty one for the Indonesian down there at turn 1, but the action was all at the front in race 1. And it all came down to the last lap. This was a couple of laps before all the riders jostling for P1. Pratama launching up the inside of Odaki on the number 14. Mitani was in the mix, Ezawa on the number 21, and of course Phuettisan as well on the number 20. A 5-rider battle that all came down to this. Pratama led out of turn 11. Phuettisan up the inside at turn 12, and contact was made between the number 21 of Ezawa and Pratama. Unfortunately for Pratama, he dropped from P1 to P5. Ezawa took a podium, so did Odaki, but it was the number 20 of Phuettisan, the Thai rider, who wins here in race 1. We will see you for more tomorrow morning for race 2. Join us then.